Well, hello, this is Joan Maroney, your Mother of Mercy messenger, with your Fast Friday message for today. And today I am happy to be joined by my husband, Dave.
Hello.
Hello. And it is Lent. And so we are going to talk a little bit about how the saints fasted to help us be better fasters. I like to call it being a good faster.
Why do fast days go so slow?
Anyway, well, we know that during Lent, we are all called to more intense prayer, fasting, almsgiving, and abstinence. But the church requirement for fasting really is found in the fourth precept of the church. There are 5 precepts, and these are the bare minimums that we are called to do to be considered Catholics in good standing. And I'm not going to go through all 5 of them. But the fourth one is you shall observe the days of fasting and abstinence established by the church. So, Dave, what are the bare minimums?
What are the days of fasting in the church? There's 2 of them.
Just 2.
The whole year. There's only 2 that we are required to fast, and that is Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. I'd like to bring up that fasting and abstinence are 2 different things.
And so what's the difference?
Well, fasting is where you don't eat, but the church's definition is you can have 1 full meal and then 2 smaller meals that do not add up to 1 full meal. So that's not even...
It's not eating.
That's not eating.
It's limiting your food intake.
Limiting your food. And abstinence is where you don't eat meat.
And when is that required?
That's required on every Friday throughout the year.
Really?
Even outside of Lent.
Right.
Which is kind of a lost art. But the church teaching is if you do eat meat on Fridays in any day of the year, any Friday of the year, then you should do some other form of penance.
Except that during Lent, it is a requirement that you do not eat meat. But anyway, today we're going to talk about fasting, okay. All right? And we know that there are really many great benefits. There's spiritual benefits. That's why the church calls us to do this act of self-denial, this act of discipline. But also, it's very popular to fast. There's a lot of people intermittent fasting because there are a lot of really great health benefits to doing this.
That's true. It's a health craze,
right? And so just follow the teachings of the church, and you're going to be stronger, healthier, and better. But you know what? I was reading a beautiful book. It's published by TAM Publishers. It's from the 1800s. It's called Self-Mastery with the Saints, Cultivating Virtue. And every month we go through a different virtue. And here in the month of March, it's talking about mortification. And a part of that was talking about how saints mortified their senses, and especially through fasting. So we thought we would just give you a couple of examples of what the saints did, some of these saints did, to help us maybe have a greater perspective on what the traditional, what people in the past especially did, the church fathers, and how they fasted. And that could help maybe inspire us to be better fasters.
Some of the saints, boy, they really did severe. I would call it severe fasting, and so Saint Elizabeth, the Queen of Portugal, fasted on bread and water about half of the year.
Half of the year, wow. Well, it reminds me of Our Lady of Medjugorje, that she asked that we fast on bread and water on Fridays, and then I believe changed it and asked us to now grow into doing it on Wednesdays and Fridays. I know we're going to talk about that in a minute. But so St. Elizabeth fasted on bread and water, not just one day a week, but half of the year.
Yes,
That's
half of the
awesome.
year.
Okay.
That's something.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite austere. St. Francis Xavier never took food or drink for pleasure. Now imagine that. I enjoy eating. I enjoy a big hamburger and French fries. But St. Francis Xavier didn't eat for pleasure. In fact, he shied away from that. And he would always stop short. He never took as much as he desired, even if he was just eating bread.
Wow. I had a friend that would say she would only eat one serving. She never went back for seconds. It's kind of along those lines.
That's
it's
not
a
me.
way of self self-discipline. I know, well, your wife is such a good cook.
That's
has
true.
a lot to do with it.
And even when
Maybe I'll try to cook worse.
now, Joni,
All right. What about Saint Edmund of Canterbury?
he never ate meat or fish.
Ever?
That's right. He never ate meat or fish, and he only ate bread and other common foods, I guess, like beans and vegetables and things like that.
And then also he limited his drink and suffered so much from thirst that his lips were chapped. All right, so are we called to never eat meat or fish? I know some people don't because they're vegan.
That's true.
But the point is, they were very austere, like you said, and did some severe fasts. So for us to try to fast twice a year, come on, we're called to do more. And so that's why we have this Fast Friday program to
encourage people. Because, the devil, it just drives him crazy. He can't understand, why would someone make themselves uncomfortable on purpose? Mm-hmm. We're giving up comfort, basically, denying ourselves a full stomach, and that really gets to the devil.
Well, yeah, but on the other hand, that's been the problem in our culture. We don't know how to have that self-discipline, and we just gorge and we become gluttons. I mean, we have obesity is a huge problem in our country and in many cultures of the world. But Dave, what about, remember when we went to Medjugorje? There was a great lesson that we learned there.
Well, we had already been fasting somewhat. And our host, the place where we stayed at, we were with a group, a busload of people, and we were cautioned as a group to take it easy in the fasting and don't jump in too severe. And I've found through the years, as we've been fasting, that you can do a little bit more as you go along. And so, you do what you can, and then, the next year I end up doing more and more. And you have to kind of become friends with that feeling in your stomach that you're hungry. But so you give it to Jesus, you take that hunger and take that discomfort for the glory of Jesus.
I like to sometimes think when I'm feeling a little hunger pain, you say this often too, that after a while it'll go, or I'll drink a big glass of water and I won't have that hunger and it will pass. But it reminds you that you're fasting, and it reminds you to unite yourself with Christ, and it draws you close to him. That's how it works spiritually. But then also to think about the people, the children that hadn't eaten all day. Or neglected, the poor, people that suffered during wartime, or people that starved, like the Great Famine in Ireland, or when, people died of starvation in Africa. And we see this, and I think, golly, maybe if I don't eat today, or I pass up this meal, or I eat just a small amount, there's a couple of good practices to do. One is that the money that you would spend on that meal, to donate to the poor, to give to Food for the Poor, or donate to your food pantry in your community. And that's one good thing to do with it, and take that money, that you would spend on that meal. So,
and I found that through the practice of fasting, it helps you get through other situations too. You might, if you're in a conflict in some way with somebody, you can have that feeling that, well, I know, this is very uncomfortable, just like fasting. This is very uncomfortable at the moment, but this will pass. And you get used to that, and it helps you have hope in all kinds of situations.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, in these days, we know that the Lord taught us that only some demons can be expelled through prayer and fasting. And we have a lot to pray for. There is a lot of evil that is being exposed, that we see, that exists in the world. And a lot of people are praying. We really are praying, and that's beautiful. And more people are fasting. And if we want to change the world, if we want to change the situation in our families, in our country, if we want an answer to prayer, we've got to do like Dave said. We've got to crush the head of Satan and get them where it hurts. And fasting, this is what Scripture teaches us, is one of the things that is a requirement. So if you've been trying everything, if you've been saying, I've been praying and praying and praying, and it's never changed, and it's always going to be the same, and nothing is different, well, start fasting. And like Dave said, you don't have to jump in and just eat a piece of bread and drink a glass of water. Give up that dessert, give up that Coca-Cola, give up that coffee, give up that wine, eat a smaller meal, don't have seconds, stay away from the sweets.
Skip breakfast.
It's a great way to do intermittent fasting. Do whatever you can. And we're going to talk later on another Fast Friday about other things we can do from fasting from food. But it's very important to fast from food. And everybody can do it, no matter what. Because you can, instead of eating a nice steak, have a bologna sandwich. Simplify your food. That's one way you can do it. You still need to eat something. You've got medical needs.
You could eat something that's even a little bit unpleasant to you. Now, don't do anything that's going to make you sick, but something that's not your favorite food, you could choose that to eat.
Right. Leftovers, bland food. All right, everybody. Well, we hope that this has given you some good ideas, some inspiration to fast like the saints, or use them as your role model, put them on your radar. Strive for that. Strive for holiness, because you know what? You're called to be a saint. We are all called to be saints. We need to live like saints now, act like saints now, striving for perfection and following their example.
And so we thank you for listening. We're Joan and Dave Maroney, your Mother of Mercy messengers.
God bless you. God bless America, or your country, because of you. Please like and share this video. Share it with others, because we need more fasters.
Goodbye for now.